Greetings all! Today, we'll be examining the uncommon normal-type Pokemon Stantler and its exceptionally rare normal Psychic-type evolution Wyrdeer, the two collectively known as the Big Horn Pokémon. Though their appearances might not normally give much pause for concern for most, the members of the Stantler family are unique creatures that can more than put the power of illusions to good use when push comes to shove.
Stantler are quadrupedal mammals with brown hair covering their body and 4 legs that end in black hooves with a large rounded tail in the back and cream-colored belly and body speckles. They have a large dark brown nose, flappy ears, and black eyes, and are especially noted for their horns, which have a yellow-gold color to them with a set of prongs on each side of the twin-pronged objects and a large black ball in the center of each horn. Their evolved form, Wyrdeer, have the same basic body form as their pre-evolved form, but are noted in that their horns have a much more complex, twisted form to them that gives them a more regal appearance. In addition, their body hair is turned grey in color, with white tails, body speckles, belly, and lower legs, as well as a long, thick beard of white hair that covers their neck and shoulders.
While they might resemble normal deer in form and attributes, the members of the Stantler family are usually only hunted by those that have the skills needed to overcome the unique tricks and powers of deception to bring home their fantastic horns.
Once a year, usually during early spring, Stantlers shed their horns and grow a new pair within a week or so, occasionally eating their horns for nutrition. In some cases, though, human hunters have been privileged enough to find these shed horns before they can be devoured. Although the small ball in the center can be crushed into a powder that aids in sleeping, the real value of these horns often lies in their aesthetic beauty. Centuries ago, these horns were considered to be magnificent works of art and were very popular among sculptors and traders in general. In order to increase their relative wealth, hunters often went out and killed Stantler just to get a hold of their horns. This hunting continued until Stantler were at the brink of extinction, at which point national and local governments alike passed laws protecting the creatures from harm.
These laws were primarily passed in order to deny hunters of what rightfully belonged to their political leaders, but its effects nonetheless allowed the species as a whole to repopulate and thrive once again.
Wyrdeer, on the other hand, are believed to be extinct in the world in modern times, but advances in time travel have allowed rare glimpses into the power of these creatures and what they can be seen to be capable of in practice. Wyrdeer are said to have been one of only a select group of Pokemon that were blessed with cosmic power by Arceus in the times of the Hisui region, the precursor to the modern Sinnoh region, and served as a guardian of the obsidian fields they once called home. These creatures are only accessible as an evolution of Stantler on account of their already unusual psychic powers, and specifically how Stantler are able to use them as part of the family's signature Psy Shield Bash attack. Under normal circumstances, this attack draws forth the raw might of Stantler and allows them to make the most of their notable psychic power to both deliver a strike and possibly shield themselves from damage to an extent. However, by executing the attack numerous times while using it in the agile style, these deer can learn to hold back and temper the power and in turn refine their capacity to utilize psychic power as a whole. Once this is done at least 20 times, they will come to master the move and in turn can awaken the full potential, enabling access to evolution into Wyrdeer. The result is a decent increase to both their offensive and defensive stats, and a considerable increase to their base HP stat, though in the process they experience a moderate drop in their base speed stat. This doesn't seem to deter them too much, however, as they also become partial psychic types in the process, and thus can maximize the impact of their psychic type attacks and make themselves a far bigger threat in battle than Stantler ever could be.
This feeds into their abilities as a whole, as these creatures are able to use their horns to intimidate others that come too close to them, or even use their psychic powers to identify the items that an opponent might be holding, having access to intimidate and frisk as base abilities, while those that are more voracious with their feeding habits can also have access to Sap Sipper as a hidden ability.
As far as the stats are concerned, in the case of Wyrdeer, these creatures are not built to take heavy offense from most opponents and are not that fast on their feet, the base defense, special defense, and speed stats being below average for fully evolved normal and psychic type Pokemon. But they do have plenty of stamina to spare and are decently gifted in their offensive stats, the base special attack stat being above average for fully evolved normal type Pokemon, and the base HP and attack stats being above average for fully evolved Pokemon of both of their types, so they can at least hit decently hard and take a bit of punishment before they are ultimately defeated in battle.
As already noted, the most iconic part of Stantler is their horns, which are truly unlike any other set of horns in the natural animal world.
Though it is still unclear as to whether their shape or something internal is responsible for their power, these horns, at their owner's discretion, can actually change the flow of air slightly. This change is so subtle that it seems to only affect extremely small particles, essentially changing the way these particles interact with the rest of the airstream. This subtle change, although seemingly inconsequential, actually works to distort the space around them to a severe degree. How and why this distortion occurs is still the subject of much debate, as quantum mechanics in regards to this subject is still relatively incomplete and currently unable to explain this phenomenon. Regardless, this essentially allows Stantler to generate illusions and utilize moves like Calm Mind and Prison and the signature Shy Shield Bash attack that almost no other normal type can actually learn. Stantler are particularly adamant about using their illusionary powers to distract predators and trainers alike, giving them an opportunity to escape a potential battle easily. Stantler generally only use their powers in emergency situations though, as they are rather docile in nature. It is highly recommended that you do not stare at their horns for too long though, as they still generate a slight illusionary effect even when not in use. Staring at them will cause you to feel drawn to the centers and, within a few minutes, render you unable to utilize your senses or even stand up. Wyrdeer are calm and majestic creatures in the wild that are known for protecting herds of Stantler by conjuring energy walls and shields in the same vein as Mr. Mime, using them to confound potential predators and keep their herds safe, with the orbs in their antlers being used as the prime power source from which these spatial distortions are generated. They can equally use this power to see beyond the physical limitations and to spot objects and pathways that might be in their way in order to shepherd their herds to safety among narrow trails and mountain ranges. The thick fur that covers their body, especially the beard of hair on their face, works as an incredible insulator and thus allows these creatures to survive even in the coldest of environments, and in turn was known to be a popular material for making winter clothing in the Hisui region. Moreover, though their combat attributes might show them to be slower than Stantler in battle, they can make use of their larger horns to learn and execute a Mega Horn attack and are able to bound across the land with great ease and thus served as a powerful ride Pokemon in ancient times, not just being able to run, but also jump across nearly any type of terrain, even navigating cliff faces provided there is room for them to stand from place to place. As a whole, Wyrdeer are unique beasts that can certainly play around effectively with their natural powers, and in turn can be made into useful creatures to those that are able to somehow bring them into existence.
These strange deer might not look to be anything to be truly concerned about to many, but in truth they can be quite the handful if you don't approach them cautiously. Stantler are not the most gifted of fighters on their own to some, but their capacity to create illusions in the air nonetheless makes them tricky beasts to deal with if you can't tell what's real and what isn't in their vicinity. They are more than able to take advantage of this once they've got someone incapacitated or otherwise running for their life, and can still put up a bit of a fight with the physical attacks in close quarters. Their evolved form Wyrdeer might be all but absent in modern times, but from what we do know, they are truly majestic creatures that work to protect those they care for the most, and will never back down from a fight no matter how outmatched they might be otherwise. This only adds to their already regal appearance, and while they might not be suited for warmer modern climates, they can still make great use of their psychic powers to thrash others that dare to challenge them, and make it clear that these deer are not to be taken lightly in the slightest.
Although they might not appear to have many bells and whistles to them at first glance, the members of the Stantler family are unique mammals that can make great use of their natural powers to confuse and befuddle those that dare to attack them directly. It might require some unique circumstances these days in order to help them evolve, but the results could be more than worth it with the powerful illusions and walls they can raise as Wyrdeer.
Just do yourself a favor and make sure to give them a wide berth if you accidentally disturb them in the wild. Otherwise they might take you as a threat and summon an entire herd of their kind to charge after you, even if said herd might not really be there at all.
Thank you for watching this video. It brings me great joy to be able to speak to you all in the world each and every time we meet like this, to explore the many different facets of both the world of Pokemon as we know it, and the world as we live it, through every adventure we have with Pokemon by our side. If you'd like to, please subscribe, ring the bell and all that jazz, to keep yourself updated on content uploads and other materials of the like. You can also follow me on Twitter if you'd like to know right away when something new is uploaded, and my written works, from which most of this is based on, can be found on DeviantArt. Links to both can be found in the description down below. Remember that the world of Pokemon is a place full of wonder and mystery, and you never know what to expect. So, stay vigilant, keep watch, and always be prepared for the unexpected. Until next time, trainers and friends of all sorts, have a wonderful time.